Hello ladies, and I'm back again. So this time I thought I would talk to you about electro-pollution because I think everybody should know about it and what you can do to support yourself. We can't not live in the environment that we live in. We're all on computers and mobile technology, but how can we limit the impact that that has on our cellular health? So that's what I'm going to talk to you about today. I'm going to talk to you about some different tips that you can use every day that will help you lessen that burden on the body. But first of all, I'd like to tell you a little bit um, about why I feel it's so important. So going back to when our oldest daughter was about 12, 13, she got really sick. And in that we discovered bioresonance, and we then learned that electro-pollution was a huge cause to that. And behind our house, about 300 foot from the house, a new mobile phone mast had gone up, and she started to suffer all these different symptoms. So do you suffer with things like fatigue, weakness, sleep disturbance, insomnia, headaches, migraines, memory loss, even skin issues, heart palpitations and brain fog can all be linked to this? I'm not saying it is cause for everybody, but it certainly can have a huge impact on our health. So what can you do? Well, for start off, we're going to look at different things and tips that you can do every day. But our cells should be nice and round and plump. And what happens when e-smog, or electro-pollution as people call it as well, starts to affect the cells, they start to sag. So your nutrients and your toxins don't go in and out of the cells like they should do. And especially when you're asleep, when they should be doing all the jobs they're doing. So they should be less cortisone being released, etc. at night. But e-smog works like stress on the body, has such a huge impact that cortisone then gets released when it shouldn't be being released. And so it has that kind of effect that stress has on us. So what are you going to do about it? Well, there's some really great case studies, and if you've listened to me as guest speaker, we go into those of a family and in a particular town that they monitored this whole town as certain things, 5G, etc., were rolled out and the effects on those, and come up with the good frequencies to support the body to help you cope with that. But what we learned from that was there are things that you personally can do that will just help. If it's a major issue, then we can look at other things. And we can look at ways to really help you with that. And that's where my wacky ornament comes in. People have heard me talk about it before. One of these days I'll get it back out and show you this wacky ornament. But what you can do, so at night when you go to bed, one thing, make sure your phone's on airplane mode, and please don't sleep with it under your pillow. Put it as far away as possible. Yeah, I know some of you might need your phones on because somebody needs to contact you. Okay, so if you can, put it outside the room so it's not in your sleeping environment, because that's when the body does all its work. That's when it's healing and repairing and doing those jobs that it needs to be doing at night. So that's one. Put that out at night. The other thing you can do is switch your Wi-Fi off at night. Do you know it will come back on in the morning, and the kids will have a good old moan, when it first goes off, and whinge about it. But they soon get used to it. They soon get used to actually that's healthy. And you will find if you're suffering with some of those things, you will find just switching your Wi-Fi off at night can have amazing impact on your health. And you will find you will sleep better. You won't have your headaches, etc. And I'll give you an example of that. Going back a few years ago now, we'd had a massive storm, and I had a deck phone. And a deck phone, when you put them on, if they're in low eco mode, should switch themselves off, because they can be known to give off as much radiation as a mobile phone mast. And I started suffering these really bad headaches. And when I checked my phone, it changed from eco mode up to full mode again. So it wasn't switching off. And that was the reason I was getting my headaches. So once I switched it back off, I then have things that I would do to help support that. The headaches went back off again. So that's one tip. Next one is please don't put your phones in your bra. A lot of women do, and that's where a lot of women get cancers. And it's where the antenna of the aerial, and there's a Dr. Deborah Davis does a fantastic study on this, 3D imaging, showing you the dangers of mobile technology when they're next to the skin. Same for men, pockets or trousers. Try not to keep them in there. I know it's hard and I know we have to carry it with us, but women, we've got an option. We can put it in a bag. Yeah, and it's not directly on the body. The other thing is when you're using your phone, put it onto airplane mode. Not airplane mode, hands-free. Speaker mode is what I meant. That's the word I was looking for. And you can also use what we call radiation-free headsets. So you can get them anywhere. You can get them on Amazon, etc., and use those. And there's all different sorts. They range from £5 up to about £30, depending on the quality you want to buy. I paid a fiver for those, and they work fantastically. So I don't have a problem with them. But what it does do is save all that radiation getting up to your head. Now, so they're just a few things. The other thing is think about your children as well. So, you know, you've got young children, and parents today tend to give their mobiles to their kids. Be aware of that. Make sure it's on airplane mode when your children are using it. Or if they're talking to somebody, maybe they're talking to dad or whatever, try and get them onto speaker mode. Get them used to that, because their skulls are much thinner. And so bearing in mind that for an adult it gets to about here, so for a child it'll get a much further across. So another way in which you can cut down that effects on children. Blue lights, they're things that you can eliminate at night. So try all these different things, because they are really beneficial to you. I know we've all got to live in this, but you'll find if you can cut that down, you cut a lot of the burdens down on the body. And one of those things that we talked about earlier was bedwetting. Now, e-smog can have an effect on that, and geopathic stress can have an effect on that, on a child. And if you find that just eliminating some of these, you may find those problems go away, and that is your cause. So, but if you want more information about that, then we can do actual tests, and we can tell you specifically what's causing the problem and go into it in more detail. But these little things that you can do at home. The other thing that can help, dirty electricity, which is where your AC and your DC currents come into the house, they switch over so we can run all our appliances. You can buy little recite clips. They're little black clips. They go on to, I'm just looking to see if I've got any around that I could reach. No. No, I can't reach it. But you can put them by the plug, and they send the dirty electricity away from you and back down the line. And that's another way of cutting down the dirty electricity. Now that, I did an experiment, and we turned everything off, and we tried it on our fridge freezer. And it was amazing, the difference in the noise. It's like the static noise that you hear on a stereo. It really cut that down. And our youngest daughter at the time was suffering really a lot from it. Because as soon as we took them off or we switched them on, she would start twitching and jerking. We put them on, the jerking lessened. She had a neurological disease. And so that really helped her in that way. So these are just some tips that you can do at home. So get trying them. I want to know that you've done them, because these are all really, really beneficial. The other thing is late at night or before they go to bed, don't let children play with electronic games, especially if they've got Wi-Fi on them, because then you will have sleep problems. Wi-Fi things, controls, they need to be off well before, at least half an hour or so before bedtime. And blue lights. Blue lights can have a huge impact on your sleep patterns as well. So they're the sort of things, you know, you try and eliminate, and then you won't have so much stress. So I will see you again later on, and I will then be talking about tapping and how you can use tapping in your everyday life.